Wake up, it's the Coach Brickey Sports Show with the team that can give you what you know, what you need and what you want on the court. For football, the basketball, and every other sport. With Troy and DL and Dr. Carl Brinkley and Paul and the Coach Robert Brickey. It's time, get your coffee and get ready for the flow. Get ready for the Coach Brickey Sports Show.
Good morning to you. That's that. We're rocking and rolling on this Monday morning. Today is March the 23rd. Man, weather's been bumping out there. I think we're kind of past the cold weather there. My most able producer there, Coach, Reverend Carl. What you think, man? I believe we might be past the winter. What you think?
I sure hope so, sir. But the thing about this springtime, man, that pollen is
Oh,
everywhere.
man, bruh, this stuff wearing me out, bruh. I'm telling you, it's just, man, I had a rough go this weekend. But, praise be to God. I'm still here.
Hallelujah.
Praise be the Lord.
Man, there was so much pollen. We washed the car Saturday, and it was loaded with pollen again. And then when I drove in the street, it was like tracks, like it was snow with the green pollen. So it's tis the season.
In parts of Fayetteville, I know on the north side, it rained on Saturday night, so it washed it down some. But look, in a couple of hours, it was back.
Yes, sir.
Well, look, I got them real tall pines across the street in front of me. It just blows. But I tell you something, though, man. I was in Moore County one day, and this little quick story, and the pollen was blowing so hard, it was like I was in a snowstorm. Honest to God, man. It was like, I was like, what the world?
That's right. So I'm pulling out my neti pot. I have to use it every night this season. Every night of the week this season, yeah.
Inside of the Coach Brickey Sports Show, there's a lot going on. Certainly, basketball, college basketball is the subject. And good morning, Coach. Good morning, DL.
Good morning.
All right. So, I know we're talking basketball, but let me tell you, I'm going to have to name Reverend Carl the #1 Dallas Cowboy fan. He got all this Dallas Cowboy stuff on. I mean, he's got his Dallas Cowboys shirt. I'm kind of color deficient. I don't know what color it is, but I can read. Dallas Cowboys, got his little Dallas Cowboy hat. Really? Really? Okay. He said it's a good off season. I guess. Hey, look, some of my teams the same way. When the off season comes, at least they ain't losing anything. They ain't losing any games. So hey, praise the Lord. Well, guys, let's process what has happened the first weekend of 64, Coach.
And I tell you, it's always an exciting time because everybody gets all excited. It's kind of like Reverend Brinkley. It's all excited about the Cowboys, and then all of a sudden there's an upset, and then your bracket is busted, and then you just holding on for hope. That's what the Cowboys do every year.
Right.
I'm just true too. Because he texted me the other day about some Cowboy stuff.
I saw that too. I think it was Saturday before last. I think it was when he did that. I believe that when he did that, and matter of fact, I was talking to Wes, and was talking to, matter of fact, Attorney Alan Rogers. All of us were sitting there, and he popped that open, and I said, "Hold, wait a minute." And they said, "Well, what you talking about?" I said, "Reverend Carl is text something about the Cowboys." They said, "The Cowboys." And I read what he had put in there. I forget what he said now exactly. And, of course, people on the floor just falling out laughing and everything else, but whatever.
We didn't have much participation in the bracket challenge this year. We only have like 10 people in.
I saw that. Hey, but I've been fighting for third or fourth, man. I mean, hey, look, I take it how I can get it.
Hey, but listen. Well, it's just so unpredictable, and I guess it's the magic of March Madness. Is teams you probably you barely heard of and you've never seen play, and then they get an upset. Good example: High Point University, right here in High Point, North Carolina.
Right.
They get a win first round, and then actually in the second game, they lost by a reasonable amount, but they were not afraid. I watched that game. They were not afraid. The team was a little better than they were, but You know, so the state of North Carolina was well represented in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, you had Queens College. Is it out of Charlotte?
Yeah, it was out of Charlotte.
Right, and also High Point is right there close by. But you got a point there, sir. That's how things went. Well, look, let's talk about the brackets a little bit. Talk about the number one seeds. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm being objective now. I believe that Duke's going to have to play better than they did in the first two games. Okay, in the last maybe 10, 15 minutes, they played well on their second game. But if they don't play better, I believe they're going to have a unhappy ending as well.
Yeah, you know, I think they are trying to work Patrick Gumber back into the lineup, which they're going to need if they're going to keep advancing. They got to get him in game shape. And then John Shire, head coach, hinted at the point guard coming back. He sounded fairly optimistic. So if they can get a full roster together, I think we got a decent chance to be in the Final Four.
Right. But they're going to have to do that, Doc. I mean, the way they're playing now, because look, let's be honest. If that first round coach had given those 5 players, relieved them just a little bit, because now, like I said, I never played the game, but coach, when players are tired in the fourth quarter, in the last half, because you're not playing quarters, second half, and when they get tired, they start missing shots. And they start throwing up air balls and stuff like that because they don't have the strength, to continue playing the way they were playing. If they had a little more juice, they would have sent Duke home in the first round.
Yeah, Troy, let me say this. What sometimes people don't realize is he plays the players that he trusts that will get the job done. When you look down the bench, and you can't identify a player that you feel comfortable is going to help you put your team in position to win, you play the players that you need to play. So, you can criticize the coach, but trust me, I've looked down the bench before, and I was like, listen, this is the best that we got. I'm going to have to try to call a timeout, get them, whatever. But I need to play these 5 guys. Otherwise, I think our chances are diminished.
I understand that. I mean, it's say like you the coach and you got DL and you have Reverend Carl and you got Paul there, and you look down the bench and Reverend Carl and DL and some other guys have been starting. You look down at me and you're like, no, I'm not putting Troy in there. I ain't mad at you, brother. I fully understand.
Yeah, look, at this point in the season, you know who you're working with.
That's true. That's true.
So you know who you can trust. Yeah.
DL picked Florida to win it overall. DL?
Yeah, I was wrong, and my uncle called me. He's a Duke fan. He called me and rubbing it in as soon as the game's over. He don't even call me. Like, you don't even call me. He said, it's crazy. All happy and everything. But anyway, with the Duke game, I listened to what you said, but one thing we want to take into consideration as well, Carlos Boozer didn't have a good first half. What you said is right, but Boozer played a whole lot better in the second half. Carlos,
Well, that's why people lose, DL, because they don't play well. I mean, they have everybody that lost, you can say that about them. Basically, their players were not playing well. My thing is that they're going to have to start playing better if they want to – I think they're at risk in their next game. Because, the teams are getting better. They ain't getting worse. They're getting better. They played a 16 seed, and what was that, an 8 seed that they played the last game, Coach Brickey?
They played Siena in the first round.
That's a 16 seed.
That was a 16 seed. Then they played TCU, which was the 9th seed.
That's what I'm saying. Look, when you kind of struggling a little bit to get past a 16 seed and a 9th seed, it just gets.
They beat TCU by Troy. They beat TCU by 23 points.
Look,
hold it.
No, but see, look, you got to look at the whole game. They got their game together in the last 10 minutes or so. Now, come on, I saw the game too. I know, but listen, I'm talking about, look, they got their act together in the last 10 minutes or so. That team was with them for at least 3/4 of that game.
Well, okay, but Troy, they got better. You know, Troy, the other team puts on their shoes as well, and Duke is dealing with some injuries. Now, Duke will have a tough game against St. John's, but I watched the St. John's and Kansas game yesterday. Both teams were throwing up bricks. Now, only thing St. John's do good that's going to put Duke in a disadvantage is that they like to press, and Duke better be able to hold the press. If Duke can withstand the St. John's press, they're going to shoot them out of the gym because St. John's and Kansas were throwing up bricks, and it should have been against the law yesterday.
Well, we'll see. But I'm just saying is that a game past St. John's would take them to the Elite Eight. And who do you predict would be next if things go as we predict they would be, Coach, if they get past St. John's?
Let's see. They play. I'm going to pull up my bracket. I think one of the things we got to consider in this Sweet 16 is most of the schools that are left are historically good, and like you say, this last, even though they're not all 1 and 2 seeds, there's some really good teams in this last 16. So
right, so if they get past St. John's, then they got to deal with either UConn or Michigan State. Which, of course.
Hey, guys.
So what now?
Hey, we got some other teams we need to talk about.
Well, yeah, we got a whole show, brother. Don't worry about it. We're going to get to them. The other teams you want to talk about are?
It was just some good games on yesterday, and what I enjoyed the most about the tournament was the coaching decisions and just listening to the commentators on CBS Sports talk about the coaching decisions.
Right.
I wanted to bring up a special shout out to Kenny Blakeney, Duke grad, coach at Howard University, but winning their conference tournament and then getting a win in the play-in game, and then played well in the first round, but they lost. But shout out to Howard University for making that run.
Yeah, I saw that. That was a good game. I mean, they played with them for about 3/4 of the game.
Yeah.
But DL, I'm listening.
So let's I wanted to highlight all the North Carolina teams.
Right.
So we had High Point, Queens, Duke State, UNC. And actually, Wake Forest was in the NIT. So we had great representation from the state of North Carolina in the postseason tournament this year.
Right. Of course, the meltdown by Carolina has dominated the news, even overshadowing some of the tournament wins because of the notion that Coach Davis probably is not going to come back. I would suggest that a decision may be made today. Coach Brickey, your thoughts?
I am going to stay away from UNC talk. But
I
I'm
won't,
going to let
but I
DL
won't.
have that. Because DL probably followed it closer than I did. So I'm going to let him speak on
Okay,
it.
yeah. And I'll tell you this. They have to make a decision today because Bill Self, who's a 2-time NCAA champion at Kansas, who followed Roy Williams, he's had health difficulties starting with vascular issues over the past. Bill Self has said he's undecided. So Carolina and Kansas, to me, are equal. You can say 1A and 1B. So Carolina has to make a decision if they want a top-tier coach in the next 2 days because nobody's going to sit and wait if Kansas is coming open. And as far as Hubert Easter Davis' job, he was won 25 games each of the first 5 years. And, Carolina is not like coaching at State or coaching at, I want to say, Michigan. It's a top 5 program. And with that, it comes scrutiny from the public and the fans. I will say this. You can watch, Hughes' press conference wasn't the best Friday because And the reporter should have asked the follow-up question. When he asked people why he only played 5 guys in the second half, he just said that was my decision. I think he had gum or ice in his mouth, which really tells me he didn't want to be there. And the reporter should have followed up with the question, well, we understand that, but why? I don't advocate for coaches being fired, but Carolina has a tough decision to make because it's just, I'll tell you this, and I'll leave it to you, Floyd. Every coach is, in any sport, they achieve to get to the top of the mountain. I would say you started at the top of the mountain. When you beat Trasinski in his last season twice, and you get to the championship game and you're up by 15 and you win and you lose, but then after that, you don't make the NCAA, and then you go to the round of 32 or 16. No, he made 16 because he lost to Alabama. And then it's 2 consecutive first-round exits. And followed by 1 year you didn't make it. He's in a downward spiral, and I can tell you this. So I'll leave it at that. But Carolina fans upset.
Yeah, well, I think the problem is the appearance, the optics of how he's losing. You know, now, I mean, look, I like the guy. And, you know, I've defended him. However, the challenge that I have with him is that the teams that he's coaching have a history of having huge leads and losing those leads and losing the game in the end. So something's going on here. Now, you know, I mean, I look, Coach Brickey is coached. I've never coached anything. I'm just looking at it. But you can't tell me that something's not going on psychologically with him and his teams. You know, I do know this, that some people, what they need to do is they know how to push buttons in players and stuff like that. I mean, coaching is a skill, but it's almost an art too, isn't it, Coach Brickey?
Absolutely. And I'll say this, I think part of the struggle is the NIL and transfer portal. So he hasn't coached in an era before when he started coaching, the NIL and transfer portal were already in place. So you think about this, every year you got to reshuffle the deck. Prior to NIL and transfer portal, you had to recruit a kid. You had to spend a year or 2 or 3, if he's a top player, maybe 4 years. So you knew who that kid was. You knew his girlfriend, his mama, his auntie, his uncle, his high school coach, his AAU coach. You knew everybody in his family, who the kid was. So you had a better idea, chemistry-wise, who you were dealing with. Right now, it's so transactional. A friend of mine who's a coach told me this. I said, "Hey, how do you like recruiting now that it's based on NIL money?" He said, "It's better." He said, in one way, because if you don't have enough money, you're just not in the game.
Okay.
So, you know, that's what the flip side of that is, you don't get to know the kid. And, you know, so in some, you know, you can do some research, but in some aspects, you're at a disadvantage relationship-wise.
Right. Well, look, we need to go to a break, but I say this, Coach, and we can talk about it when you come back. It's just that I think that some players have a killer instinct. And, you know, you would know that better than me. I just think that these kids that we've got a few, but a lot of them, they just don't have killer instincts. I mean, you got, and I hope I'm saying that right and it doesn't offend anybody, but it's just that you got to bring that to the table, guy. I mean, it has to be, that's what champions are made of. You got to, and that's in life. That's in anything. Anybody that's a top dog, whatever their vocation is, you got to have a kind of tenacity that is beyond just skills. You know what I mean? It's just that I'm going to get this done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right, look, we're going to go to a break, come back, Coach Brickey Sports Show with Coach Brickey, DL, and my good friend, Reverend Carl, wearing his Dallas Cowboy shirt.
Call Brickey and Paul and the coach Robert Brickey. It's time, get your coffee and get ready for the flow. Get ready for the coach Brickey Sports Show. And get ready for the flow.
North Carolina Carolina Senator Tom Tillis told ABC News this week on Sunday that his attitude has changed since announcing he isn't running for re-election, and now he just wants to make sure Republicans get elected this fall. At least 2 people were killed when authorities say an Air Canada regional jet struck a fire truck on the runway of New York's LaGuardia Airport late last night, crushing the front nose of the plane. A manhunt is underway in Britain for the apparent arsonist who torched 4 ambulances belonging to a Jewish volunteer service in northwest London. State officials are urging residents to take precautions as drought conditions grip much of North Carolina. More money is headed to small businesses in western North Carolina to help them continue recovery after Hurricane Helene. Thanks to warm, wet weather, North Carolina will be seeing a surge in ants and other pests this spring and summer. Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. Fayetteville police say a federal judge sentenced Rick Darrell McIntyre to 35 years in federal prison for leading a Fayetteville area drug conspiracy spanning over a decade. On May 24th, 2024, inmate McIntyre pleaded guilty to conspiracy to sell and possess with intent to sell 50 grams or more of methamphetamine and selling of 50 grams or more of methamphetamine. The city of Fayetteville government says get started on that spring cleaning feeling. Join us this week in keeping the community clean in collaboration with partners at Keep America Beautiful. Registration is open for Fayetteville Beautiful on Saturday, March 28th, 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. Supply pickup will be on March 27th at 121 Lehman Street. All bag trash will be collected on Monday, March 30th. If you're interested in registering for this free event, go to visitfayettevillebeautiful.com and keep Fayetteville beautiful. There are more details.
Starting out very warm this morning ahead of a cold front that passes through later today. As it does so, it produces an isolated chance for showers and storms this afternoon. We'll be warm with highs in the low to mid 80s, but much cooler heading into first thing Tuesday morning. Grab the jacket, temperatures low to mid 40s. Mostly cloudy Tuesday afternoon, a high only near 60 degrees. We could see temperatures dropping into the 30s first thing Wednesday morning. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the NCN Weather Center.
Hey, you looking for your next car? Start at Bryan Honda, 4104 Rayford Road in Fayetteville. At Bryan Honda, we make buying a car simple, stress-free, and affordable. Whether you're searching for a brand new Honda or a quality pre-owned vehicle, we've got a huge selection to fit every lifestyle and every budget. From fuel-efficient Civics and Accords to family-friendly CRVs and Pilots, Bryan Honda has the perfect vehicle waiting for you, and with our friendly, knowledgeable sales team, you'll never feel pressured. Need financing? No problem. Bryan Honda works with multiple lenders to get you approved fast with competitive rates that make sense for you. Plus, our certified service department is here long after the sale, keeping your Honda running strong for years to come. Drive smarter, drive happier, and drive home today from Bryan Honda, 4104 Rayford Road in Fayetteville, or you can visit online, bryanhonda.com. Your road starts here. Nobody beats a Bryan Honda deal, not now, not ever.
March is Social Work Month, and Cumberland County government wants to celebrate and thank all of our county's social workers. No matter what field they're in, social workers are catalysts who improve the quality of life through teamwork, partnership, forward thinking, and exceptional service. Thank you to all social workers for all you do every day.
Wake up, it's the Coach Brickey Sports Show with the team that can give you what you know, what you need and what you want on the court for football, the basketball, and every other sport with Troy and DL and Dr. Carl Brinkley and Paul and the Coach Robert Brickey. It's time, get your coffee and get ready for the flow. Get ready for the Coach Brickey Sports Show.
And we're back now with the Coach Brickey Sports Show. You know, guys, I am less upset about Carolina because I figured that they weren't going to win but one game anyway. They weren't going to get past UConn, the number 2 seed. That's how I saw it, and that's how I made out my bracket. But, Coach, there's not a lot of Larry Birds out there. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. Where you going with this?
I'm just saying, brother, look. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but there's not a lot of Larry Birds out there. And when you got a lot of people that look like Larry, they need to play like Larry. And I don't think we were playing like Larry, but we looked like Larry, okay? I'm just saying. That thing.
Are you talking about Carolina?
Yeah. Did you not see that?
Yeah, I was at the Dale Curry little jersey thing, but I would say no team has a Dale Curry. I mean, not a Dale Curry, a Larry Bird on their team.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. But look, I mean, it's just about like when Southern Cal was playing Alabama that time, and you know, Alabama said, "We're not playing any black players. Just forget that, and we're just not going to let that happen." And Southern Cal came out there and beat the brakes off of them, man. Matter of fact, it was such a big story that you can go back and Google it now. It's like in the Washington Post, New York Times, and all the people writing about that. It just some players bring a different kind of game to the table, you know, and you know, some players they don't.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, college basketball, the talent pool is just it's spread out. But if we can move on to some other games, for what game I got the thinking of me was I'm getting ready to lose it. Miami-Purdue game, but that was our second to last SEC. That was a good game back and forth, and Miami would pull it out. But I like what Charles Barkley said. You know, he gave a good shout-out to Jay Lucas. Is it Jay Lucas? Yeah, Jay Lucas. He's the son of John Lucas, who was also, I didn't know, was all ace.
We lost the other.
Hey.
He was gonna say all ACC tennis player as well as basketball player.
Okay.
And Jay Lucas is in his first year at Miami. He was an assistant at Duke. We now take the Miami job. Finished third in the conference, and then had a nice showing in the tournament. So, congratulations to him. First year success. Part of first year success means you got to have better second year success. And I think. And maybe that's what Hubert suffered from a little bit. Early success, and then they've fallen off a little bit. But, you know, in his time at Carolina, he's won 69% of his games. That is top. If you rank that, that's tops in the nation. So, you know, I get it. People want immediate gratification. They want to win every game. But, you know, so the next guy you bring in, is he going to do a better job?
Well, now, you know, people forget that Carolina fans, I've been all of my life that I can remember because of Charlie Scott. Dean Smith bringing in Charlie Scott when I was in, the 6th, 7th grade, something like that. But anyway, but, you know, in the end, they were mad at Dean because he wasn't winning every year. Now, understand, Dean would have had a lot more rings, in my opinion, had he not had to deal with UCLA. You know, it wasn't a field of 64 at the end. I think they started off with 32, and you had to win the ACC championship just to get there. But, you know, even in the end, they were calling for Dean's head. I mean, fans are rabid. You know, I'll tell you that. You've been a coach.
Yeah, listen, man. That's fan is short for fanatic. And I just think sometimes expectations are unrealistic. And you know, and a coach has got to live up to other people's expectations. And what the surprising thing is, the coach has higher expectations than the fans. But there are a lot of variables in building a winning program and winning on a consistent basis. Okay, let's say the young man Wilson, or was it Williams, the Beverly Rich of Carolina. Let's say he plays down the stretch. Well, is their season any different? Probably so. So, you know, that he was one of the top players in the nation. That
no doubt.
Your ability to win.
Well, if you take away 20-some points and plus 10 rebounds off of a team, gee whiz, that makes a major difference.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, but again, you would think that they would be a little more constructive in their criticism, but they don't look at it like that. You know what I mean? I guess the whole thing was if Carolina had just lost, it was a close game. They were up by 19 in the second half, and allowed the team to get back in and win in overtime. There was, in my opinion, if you watched it, mismanagement of trying to get the ball in and a whole bunch of other stuff. It was a bad look, Coach. It really was a bad look.
Okay, I didn't watch the game. But,
okay, all right, okay.
Yeah. I know optics sometimes do have something to do with it.
Right. So our ranked number 9 takes out Florida. Did that surprise you?
Again,
a 9 seed taking out number 1 seed.
It didn't surprise me because of the program. You know, what kind of kids go to Iowa? Kids that grow up shooting the basketball from the time they're born. And so you got 5 dudes that can shoot the ball. That's hard to defend, especially if they're making them.
Right.
And the guy that made the shot right at the end of the game, hit a 3 right with a couple seconds to go. You know, again, they are born shooters. So, you know, you put 5 guys on the court that can shoot the ball and know how to play, they can beat anybody on any given night.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's one and done. If they were playing the best out of 3, the best out of 5, or whatever,
right.
Of course it'd be entirely different outcomes with a whole lot of these games, I would suggest. Am I probably right about that?
Oh, yeah. Listen, look, it's survive in advance because here's the one thing. You're probably playing somebody you've never played before.
Correct.
You know, they're not a conference opponent. You didn't play them in non-conference. So, you got to figure out a new style of play. You got to figure out new personnel. You got to make adjustments. Okay, so DL talked about St. John's press. So right now, John Shire is walking them through press breaks, getting the ball out of, you know what I'm saying? So you got to adjust the styles of play. And if you don't adjust well, you're subject to losing.
Right. I'm still looking at Arizona. I picked Arizona to be the national champs. I think Arizona still has a good shot at making that happen.
No doubt, Arizona is a very good team, and you know, again, a historical program, good coach, and really, really good players, and they know how to play. That's what, you know. It's one thing that you got talent. It's another thing when talent knows how to play and work together. So I think that's one of Duke's strengths this year is they really share the ball and they defend. But Arizona does the same thing. They can really score, really good guard play, shoot the ball well. They got some size, so you know they'll be a problem. I think that's a good call. But I had to go. You know, when it came down to those two, I had to go with I believe Duke Blue. So I had to pick Duke.
Oh, of course, right, no doubt. I understand that. So you got Arizona, Arkansas, and then you have Texas, Purdue. Texas is number 11 seed. Purdue is a 2 seed, but I think Texas is a dangerous team to play against.
Well, they had to win the play-in game.
That's right.
So they played 3 games last week.
Yep.
And that is tough.
Yep.
So you know, I think they played well down the stretch in their conference as well. So you know, sometimes playing well at the right time is what you need in the tournament.
Will Texas turn into the NC State team that goes in to spoil some things for some folks?
Could be. You know, man. You know, what was the team from Chicago with the nun? A few years ago, they had a run and they had a nun on the sideline.
Yeah. I remember that.
You know what, man? Sometimes you get past the first weekend. It's magical. Like it generates magic in your locker room. So, you know, in their locker room right now, they believe they can win. If you get past the first weekend, you believe you can get past the second weekend. The first weekend is the biggest hurdle. So I believe they feel that they can win. They can beat anybody now. So they're going to be a tough out.
Right. So you have Tennessee and Iowa State Tennessee is 6th seed, and ours, State University, a 2 seed. Tennessee has a coach that's been around. He was at Clemson. You remember he was at Clemson? Then he was at Texas, and now he's back at Tennessee. And matter of fact, I remember he recruited when he was at Clemson. He recruited this young man from Hoke High. I forget a young man's name now, but he recruited a player from Hoke High. I think he is a pretty decent coach.
He's a very good coach.
Right.
He's a very good coach. And he doesn't get the credit, in my opinion, on the national stage like some of the other coaches do. He has been consistently good everywhere he's been.
That's
right.
right.
He coached that, I want to say Lenore Ryan, way back.
Okay.
And I think he's from North Carolina. But everywhere he's been, he's won. He's done it right. He's done it well. He's got well-coached teams. They're tough. And I always say the thing that people don't ever factor in the tournament is toughness. And Tennessee is always tough.
Right. And then you have Michigan, number 1 seed against Alabama. Alabama, in more recent years, the football team has been in a slump, but the basketball team has been on an upsurge.
Absolutely. DL, I'll let you cut. DL, did you watch that? Did you watch any of those teams?
Well, yeah, I watched a little bit of Michigan and Alabama, and so those, I think it's going to come down to coaching. Sometimes I think coaches, they overcoach and overbearing, but I'm going to back up a little bit. I want to just talk about a couple games so we get out of here. So, Santa Barbara, Herb Sendek, and State fans will still take shots at Herb. He's been there in a while. So, you get up by 3 on Kentucky. Now, they got all these assistants on the bench coaching Troy. Somebody's supposed to have the coach back. Herb said he called timeout, but the official didn't see it. Kentucky, in regulation, ends up getting a long three-pointer, tying up and going in overtime. A lot of folks said, why did they call timeout? Herb said he did. He tried and he didn't try. I think he got caught up in the excitement of the scoring. And then you want to look at the Florida game yesterday. Florida's up by 1. Why are you pressing when you have the lead? Go back and set up your defense. The guard for Howard runs up the court, draws the defense in, kicks it out, guy hits a 3-point, and they can't do anything. And they were winning. I just didn't. The studio crew said the same thing. Why are they trying to steal when they have the lead? And then if you look at the end of the St. John and Kansas game, and I'm bringing this up to talk, not to criticize the coach, they just they're going to be second guessed. With the St. John's and Kansas game, the St. John's guy, he broke through the basket because he only had 3 seconds left. And the center, unlike the Alva center, who blocked the Florida guard shot, I'm looking at the Kansas center. He just watches the guy shoot the ball, doesn't make the play on the ball to block it from behind, and that's why Kansas loses. And that's why I sent you guys something about the Kansas fan on Facebook. Bill Self has won 2 titles, and they want Bill Self gone. I can't believe it. So it's and I say this, sometimes the players don't make good decisions, but sometimes the coaches, I just think, I look at some of the decisions. The Florida coach yesterday is a head scratcher because at the press conference, he thought his guy could have took a shot before he broke through the basket. Now, that's what he said for Sports Illustrated. And I'm like, no, that guy was covered good by our defense.
Coach?
You know, I didn't see that game. You know, it's weird. I usually kind of take time off and watch basketball all day. I was just busy with other things, so I didn't get a chance to watch the mini game. I kind of caught some of the highlights, but you know, Bill's right. Sometimes you overcoach, sometimes you know. But again, I've been on the coaching side. You trying to do one thing, and it doesn't work out the way you thought it was going to work. And listen, it's a coin toss.
Well,
so you know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
But Coach,
hey, Coach Brickey, let me ask you one more thing, Troy.
Uh-huh.
You can tell the Duke players to go watch 1994 Arkansas versus Duke in the Final Four, Nolan Richardson, his 40 minutes of double H, you know what he calls it. I'm not going to say it on the radio. It's a four-letter word. Nolan Richardson, 40 minutes of you know what. So Duke would be wise to kind of watch that tape because St. John's going to bring it.
Right.
Well, but Coach,
go
ahead, Coach.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, I'm surprised we don't see more pressing and trapping in D1 basketball. Like, just the fact that you have to spend time in practice preparing for a trap and a press. That means you got to eat. I'm eating into your practice time because you have to prepare for what I'm going to do. So, and so I'm just surprised. And what's weird is most people don't handle a trap well unless you have a fantastic point guard, because they just don't see a lot of pressing. Like I would trap on ball screens just to give them a different look. And so I'm just surprised you don't see more of that, because that sometimes you speed teams up and they can't play fast and they turn the ball over. You know, and that's exactly what St. John wants to do. But I'm just shocked you don't see more of it.
Right. So Coach, my thing is that, look, if you have a marquee team, if you're going to be the coach of a marquee team, you know you have to win. I mean, Duke has a huge basketball following. Of course, though, I mean, I think I'm correct with this. More people follow Carolina basketball than any other team in the nation. At least that's last I heard. But you have to win when you have these marquee teams. Now, you're right. Your winning percentage may be well, but when it comes time to the big dance and all this other stuff, you know, you're going to have to at least make a deep run.
Look, I'm going to ask you and the DL this question. Do you think the fact that Shire has done so well at Duke, so Shire has won about 83% of his games since being Duke, which is probably leads the nation. Do you think that they're compare that has something to do with the way that Hubert is viewed?
Say what now?
Well, it depends on who you ask. Now, I'm a huge Carolina fan, but I can't judge Hubert off Shire because Shire has better players.
A whole lot better players.
My only problem is Hubert is some of these head-scratching decisions, and his players, I know he can coach. They just not responding to him because they just been flat. I wouldn't say Hubert's got to go because of what John Shire did. Now, that's not for me, but some will do that though.
Well, I'm just saying. Let's say Shire has not done as well as Hubert. Do you think that helps him?
Maybe and maybe not. Depends on
I believe it does.
What metrics you looking at.
I believe it does. I mean, because look, that's the comparison nidus that they're going to use.
Yeah, because of I get it because of the rivalry. If you want to just look at that perspective, but you also look at Miami. This is Jay Lucas's first year in. He beat Carolina at home. Carolina come off a big victory, a little bit excited. But they're going to, if you compare them against some other coaches too, you're going to say, okay, what do they have that we don't have? And that can also hurt you.
But understand though, the biggest basketball rivalry in college basketball rivalry is Duke Carolina, without a doubt, hands down.
Okay, he beat Duke this year at home, so if that was the only metric, he would be safe.
No, but I'm saying,
I'm glad that's not.
But I mean, it was after that they took a nosedive. I think that's again, that is a powerful metric. If he had won both games, and if it had even been a close game at Duke, but understand, we know why. They didn't have the personnel to win the second game, no doubt about it. But I'm just saying is that you got to be competitive, and but again, he's at a marquee school. They're expected to win a whole lot, and it's not the way it once was.
I'll let you have to say. I'll say this real quick because I know we bump against the hour. Regardless, whatever they do with Hubert, they have to do it today or tomorrow because Kansas is in the mix now, and their hand's gonna be forced.
Coach,
Do
last
you
word.
think if Boozer went down for Duke, like the gentleman went down to Carolina, do you think Duke would have done as well down the stretch?
No.
No. Yeah, so that's my point. Like, everybody owed him about winning. You lose probably a first-team All-American. That impacts your so now somebody else has got to step up and get you 23 points and 10 rebounds.
Yep.
Where you gonna get that from?
Yeah, that's true. And it's not there.
Right.
It's simply not there. You know, I mean, I feel for him. However, though, it just excuse me. It's something about him. These big leads and you're losing them. That the optics of that, coach, it just doesn't look good. I get it. I get it. I think that's what hurts his image more than anything else. You're up 19 in the second half. Matter of fact, in the middle of the second half, and you wind up losing. It just make it make sense, Doc.
I can't make it make sense, but yeah. So, look, nobody's out there trying to lose.
No. He's not trying to. But you know what, though?
Yeah.
I did see this. Look, real quickly. So one of the reporters, I think it was from one of the radio stations, 100 point something or whatever it was, they asked him to say, well, why did you change your rotation in the second half to a 6-man rotation? I don't know what the first half rotation was, and his response was, because I wanted to. That's what Hubert said. He said, because I wanted to.
Okay. Troy, okay, at the time you were emotional, and you got a lot going on. Look, be glad that's all he said, because really coaches have to get up there and lie in a way that they really can't say what they want to say. So he said what he needed to say.
Okay, I'm with you, man.
I wanted to.
I love to say, but it sounds a little arrogant too. I'm just saying is that in the midst of all this, look, all this stuff is a pile on. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, they say like the stick that breaks the camel's back. I mean, it's a lot of things to play into that. That didn't look good for him to have lost the way he did. For him to say that like that, if I'm his PR guy, I would say, you know, don't say that like that, okay? But anyway, look, man, our time is up. We got to get out of here. Enjoyed you guys so much. We'll see what happens. So look, Jay is out of town, so come Friday, man, if you want to join in and talk about some of these Thursday games, you can do so, Coach. Come Friday. Because this is going to be exciting. We're going to see what happens Thursday. And Duke plays Thursday, right?
You know what?
You don't know.
They play Friday at 7:00.
Oh, they play Friday. Okay, well, but we'll see, though. Okay, but look, enjoyed you guys. Thank you much. Thanks so much for everybody tuning in. Have a great day on today. Do what you can with that pollen, and we'll be moving forward. Take care. Have a great